the sun goes down, Sacramento lights up. Bold, smart, unpredictable. Join Sky Alton as he shines a spotlight on the stories, the talent, and the everyday moments that makes our community amazing. And now please, welcome Sky Alton.
Thank you. We are welcoming someone who truly represents the heart of Oak Park, a community activist who shows up, speaks out, and works every day for what she believes makes Oak Park stronger. Let's take a look at some of her work.
I've had 4 police complaints on my name since December 2019. My downstairs neighbor being the owner of 2 of those police complaints.
So what is gentrification? Gentrification is about making urban areas new. We all know in today's society what urban means, and gentrification is definitely taking place in Oak Park. It has been taking place in Oak Park for a very long time. The displacement of Black families has been taking place for a very long time. Some people that are completely under attack in Oak Park are our Black elders and our elders as a whole, who have been there for a very long time. And most of them are in fear of losing their homes. And since this project, many of you have seen many of our elders under attack within Oak Park. And I've interviewed a few of them that have been displaced or were actually under displacement. So gentrification has been taking place in Oak Park a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Eliza Deed to the show. All right. So good to see you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Thank you so much for having me here.
So first off, my first question that comes to mind is, what first drew you to community activism?
Literally what first drew me to community activism is, I could literally give this experience, which I'm still going to, but literally what drew me to community activism, genuinely I can say, where I just fell into being into community activism, was when I was renting a home at the Trees at Madison. Okay. I was renting an apartment there and literally was up for an eviction due to a misspelling on a money order.
Wow.
Once I was being evicted for a misspelling on a money order, I was like, this is not realistic. All I have to do is just change the money order.
Right.
And I realized the systemic behavior then and the gentrification tactics then on trying to displace me, with them being new owners moving into the complex and things like that. So I just learned the tactics, and I immediately fought back. I was like, I am not dealing with this.
Now, this is probably what I should have started with. Tell me about just your general upbringing being in Sacramento. Are you originally from Sacramento?
No.
Okay, so tell me about that.
So I'm not originally from Sacramento. I'm born and raised Stockton, California.
Okay.
And I moved to Southern California to pursue my music and my career, my education career and everything like that right out of high school. Right out of college. So once I graduated college, I was out. I moved to San Diego, California. And even in San Diego, California, I fought for homeless rights, unfair housing rights, and things like that. But I didn't realize that the position that I was walking into until I got to Sacramento. When I got to Sacramento is when I walked into the actual lifestyle of being a community activist.
Tell me about that transition from San Diego, because you said you experienced a little bit of it there, but what made it so different between San Diego and like Sacramento? Was it a little bit more extreme, so that caused you to really be like, you know what, this is something really worth fighting for? Or was it something else? I just kind of want to get an idea, because like you said, you already kind of had that mindset where from what it sounds like, you stand up for what's right? So if something's wrong, you're gonna say something,
yes.
Right? And so, but when you got to Sacramento, what made it so, I guess, egregious that you said, you know what, I have to really do something. Like this is not right. It really needs help.
I think maybe, that's a great question. I think maybe why I became so immediate into it, wanting to fight for it, is because I had been homeless. I left Stockton after I graduated college, and I was maybe like 20,
21. And I moved to San Diego to pursue my career. My whole time, pretty much for maybe the 7 out of the 8 years that I was in San Diego, I was in and out of housing. And so it was a fight being in San Diego, having to find housing, fight for housing, be in homeless communities, which I was majority of the time in homeless shelters. But I experienced a lot of, how can I say it? I just experienced a lot of push away from leadership because I wasn't tied to any mental illness, or I wasn't a VA, which VA is a price tag and disability is a price tag for both settings. So I didn't have any of those attached to me. So I wasn't treated with the same compassion and care, and none of the behavior was genuine. So that behavior was also always tough. It had already been tough, and I already wasn't fighting enough. So when I got to Sacramento and they tried to purposely target me and evict me with a misspelling on a money order, I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Right. And that was the spark that that just, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now was Speak Out, is that where it first started from that, or did it form like later on?
Speak Out Oak Park formed later.
Okay.
Maybe about a year and a half later in 2019.
Okay.
I had met someone from the Sacramento Tenants Union, and their name was Erica Jaramillo, and they had introduced me to the home that I wanted to move to in Oak Park because they were helping me fight my housing situation in Carmichael at the Trees at Madison.
Okay.
And so Erica Jaramillo ended up telling me about the Oak Park location, but she also ended up being I'm gonna use my words wisely. She also ended up being a example of systemic racism, for sure.
Okay.
She ended up being a huge contradiction. And so when I got there, I started experience immediate unfair housing practices by her. Had the police called on me several times, had police called on my family, just my family being over there for just a hangout, just 4 girls hanging out. She would tag the landlord in text messages with me and just constantly do nonstop harassment tactics. And then so I had heard also too within Oak Park that it was the Black community of Sacramento and that it was make Oak Park Black again. And there were so many people in the area that were experiencing the same disparity. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to actually focus on this issue and bring light to this issue. And I'm going to create a docuseries called Speak Out Oak Park. And we're all going to get the chance to heal together. And so that's where the idea came from.
I like that. I mean, especially since, again, from your story, you already kind of have been doing some of that work, right? But it's like when you got to Oak Park, it just kind of brought everything together. And, you know, it's one of those things where you just never know how your life is going to like turn out and what you're meant to do. Would you say that this cause and this this docuseries that you put together was something that you kind of were meant to do, like you were meant to like put together?
Definitely. I definitely feel like I am a journalist at heart, self-made journalist for sure. I am if I can close my eyes right now and give you a huge visual of who I am not of this form at all. I have a warrior suit on of whatever kind. I have wings. I literally am on the front line. I have a certain position, and I am here to truly revolutionize. I'm also rebellious in the process. You will not harm me and think that you can traumatize me every other day on your own time.
Right.
So I am a true believer that we must fight back.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about how would you explain gentrification and its impact on the Black community to somebody who's unfamiliar with it?
Okay, explaining gentrification. So the definition of gentrification is to make urban areas new. We all know what urban areas mean, which is majority of Black and brown communities. So gentrification, for example, if you have your favorite mom and pop's coffee shop that's been on the street for years, you can always go in there. She knows all your kids. She grew up with your kids. All of a sudden, Starbucks comes across the street. Mom and pop's is told she has to go. Unfortunately, there was an opportunity
to prevent gentrification in that stance, mom and pops could have been provided some kind of compensation for the Starbucks moving in across the street, but no, it's more of a competition thing. So she was displaced in the process. But Starbucks is now there to capitalize off of all the community and gain that coffee income, which in return displaces that mom and pops, displaces that black business or that brown business that built up from the ground up and was, you know, a small business. And now we have a corporation that is added to the community again and causing more property tax rise, property value for the new people coming in, but also that move of Starbucks coming in is displacing people and moving them out. So that is gentrification.
Got it. So something that comes to mind in that, you had mentioned that mom and pop shop, they could have been offered compensation. What do you mean by that? Like, what does that look like? Because when a big corporation comes in, like you said, oftentimes it puts the smaller business or smaller business mom and pop shop out of business. So what can be done if you're, you know, like what advice or what would you say when a big business comes into the community? How do they do it in a way where everybody is able to, you know, like thrive? Like the mom and pop shop is still able to be there, and then this business who comes and buys that real estate land, they're able to, you know, be there and provide, you know, whatever they need to provide. Like what would you say to that?
So for example, when Oak Park had food, I believe it's Food Source or Food Co. I always get those two mixed up, but I believe it's Food Source. And when Food Source got moved out, which was Oak Park's grocery store, when Food Source got moved out, they were up for grabs. Like, what can we do to bring a grocery store here? What they could have done is actually created a co-op. They could have had this mom and pop there. They could have had this mom and pop there, this mom and pop there. Those mom and pops that are in the area that would be affected by a new major corporation coming in, you could just create a co-op.
Right.
Instead, nobody wanted to do that idea, which we also promoted to them. Nobody wanted to do that idea, but San Miguel wanted to move in. We also pitched to them that you can have a co-op at the same time too, because San Miguel, majority around all of California, San Miguel's, they have all kinds of, you have another little small store inside of San Miguel, like a little restaurant or a little Filipino area, things like that. So we mentioned that too for San Miguel. So them just moving San Miguel in because it's brown community based was their solution. But what they could have done was allowed that co-op to exist, still providing them that same funding they were looking for a grocery store. Because there was a black mom and pop's grocery store that used to be open across Boss Market that got closed and affected by gentrification. They could have had that as a co-op there, as a grocery store. They could have brought another one, a representation for the brown community. They could have bought another one for the representation for the Muslim community, because they don't eat everything, but they are really big in Oak Park. They could have made that area for a co-op, allowing all of the community to be there, but it also be built up by the small businesses of Oak Park, which still allows the small businesses of Oak Park and the communities of Oak Park to thrive.
Yeah. I get that, and in doing that too, the community, basically every culture will be represented in that co-op. So, which I feel like truly brings together more of a melting pot, because then, you know, everybody's coming up together and everybody's, you know, thriving together, making money together. I actually like that. I think that's actually a good solution and a better way than just bringing in like big business, because there's, as you said, many problems with that. We're going to get into more about Speak Out, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Everyday amazing with Sky Alton.
What's up? This your boy Tony Robbins, the funniest man you know. You're watching Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. He say Alton, I say Alton. That's my nephew. Watch him. Get on it.
Everyday amazing with Sky Alton.
Welcome back to the show. I am still here with Miss Eliza Deed, and we were talking about gentrification. Tell me this: how does gentrification sneak into culture, business, and everyday life, and not just affect houses? Because a lot of times when people think gentrification, their mind immediately goes to like housing, right? But gentrification affects more than just housing. Like I said, it affects culture. So speak to that a little bit.
Okay, so I love that question. Gentrification affects communities multiple ways. not just housing, but for example, look at our freeways. Look at how congested they are. For example, there's a lot of people that want to live in Sacramento, but they want to work in the Bay Area. I have a great idea on how we could prevent that, but people are not ready to hear that. But there is a great way that we could actually, and it's not including fast track. Like that's another way that is included with the gentrification as well. Also, to the removal of history is a really thing that ties in with gentrification. Gentrification is to make urban areas new. So anything that, for example, that Martin Luther King wall that we have in Oak Park, the more and more it gets gentrified in that area, the more and more a developer is going to come and say, hey, I have a different idea for this wall. And there goes the removal of history. Yeah. Exactly. It is extremely that fast. For example, we just had TNR Barbecue in Sacramento this past week be sold to Plant Foundry. So another black business lost in Oak Park, Sacramento. And the first thing that the community did was welcome her in and said, wow, you have two murals from a black muralist in the area of Oak Park. The first thing that they said was, well, of course, we're going to want to remove that paint job and do something of our own. That's also what gentrification is. We have new outsiders coming into the area and not seeing any value to our history. And so they just remove it. That's a huge thing as well. Also, too, with the history behind Oak Park, the Black Panthers, what McClatchy stood for, the streets, the Muslims being on the streets, all things of that nature, them being super supportive to the community. We have the breakfast program where they were feeding community. A lot of those things are being buried, and a lot of the people moving here don't know anything about the significance and the importance of Oak Park and what came with it. And that's what happens with gentrification as well. I call it gentrified attitudes. Okay. And it's very much so tied to racism.
So what role do, for example, like the Speak Out organization play in resisting this displacement? Like, and not only what role does Speak Out play in this, how can other members of the community help to fight against these types of actions and losing history and not just housing, but like you said, culture?
Yes, definitely. So for example, Michael Benjamin has shared with us a couple of times on how we could go back to preventing gentrification in our communities by even taking just baby steps. We need to go back to requiring community. We need to go back to, if someone moves into our communities, we need to approach them and we need to say, hey, how are you doing? So this is how our community is being run, which we should have something in order and organized. So when new people do come move in, they could see the organization and the order that we have. And when they're approached, they'll be like, oh, okay, this is official. So we should be able to approach them with, this is the requirements for coming into Oak Park. This is our community budget. This is our community pool. This is what you have to put into the pool every month by being in this community, things like that, which a lot of people who are not of the Black and brown community would call that street pushing, or we're trying to, come up on them and charge them some kind of fee for being in the community. But no, back in the day, that's what we used to do to uphold our community. Also, too, we're creating that community pool. So when anybody in our community needs something, we have a budget ourselves, and we don't have to go to local government asking for no money. We built it ourselves. We created the foundation. So that's also, too, what's important. Another way to prevent gentrification and see the importance in it. But the people in Speak Out Oak Park and the docuseries have told us over and over on how we can do it. We just have to do it.
I like everything you just said. One, first of all, homeowners associations do the same thing, and they charge you a lot more to do it, right? When you first move into, a house that has a homeowner, they tell you what you can and can't do. They tell you this are the rules and everything like that, right? So to have a community have something similar, for someone to call it street pushing, I think that's kind of like insane, because no one complained. I mean, people are aware that this is a thing in communities, right? And so having a community, that's all like HOAs are, and again, they're a lot more expensive, right? And so I don't see anything wrong with having an organized community saying to a newcomer, like, hey, welcome to the community. Because I like what you said, because you're not saying like, hey, you can't come
Yeah.
to Oak Park or whatever. But if you do, just know that this is kind of the lifestyle of the area. This is how we live. These are the things that we value. And if you are going to be here, we would love it if you can value those same things.
Exactly.
You know, I don't think there's anything like wrong with that. And like you said, it's just a matter of getting more people to be, it sounds like organized and to do those things.
Yes, organizing is the biggest thing.
So just like we just said, organizing is the biggest thing. What future steps are you working on, or maybe you working with others to get this moved along to where you guys have that foundation a little bit more solid?
So I've been doing Speak Out Oak Park since 2019, but technically 2020.
Because of COVID and everything, yep.
And I was organizing and street team and collaborating people to come together. We were having monthly and weekly meetings, but they fell off. And no shade at all. I love Oak Park community with all of my heart, but I'm extremely progressive. I am a now person. I am ready person. And my poor Oak Park is not an I am ready right now attitude. And I genuinely love them with all of my heart. But we must take back what is ours, and we have no time to wait, nor waste, nor wait till other people catch up. And that is their stilo right now. So my time is done physically in Oak Park.
Okay.
I have organized, I have worked with people, I have worked with businesses. I'm still currently working with businesses. I work with college directors, all of Oak Park leaders on how we can continue to help build Oak Park. And I put people in place to help Oak Park. But me, myself, doing the work, I cannot. I must step away because this project caused me a huge amount of trauma. So I cannot no longer organize in Oak Park, but I can give them the guidance that they need to do that. And so right now I'm working with Sac State. I have a lot of students with Sac State who are interested in this project. So those who are interested in getting the information from me on how to get it started, I'm open to those people, and that's how I organize. But doing any work, walking on the streets of Oak Park, we're done with that for now.
Okay. You mentioned, and we don't have to get too much into it, but you said this has caused you a lot of traumatization. Can you speak to like a little bit of that? Just you know.
Yeah, definitely. I speak about it on my page as well, but I have been in court 3 times behind this project. The city and Erica Jo Miller tried to sue me behind this project and not allow it to be streamed. I have been harassed by the police over 8 times, followed around Oak Park over 15 times by the police. I have had all kinds of leadership people, positions in Sacramento you can think of, who have told me that my life was at risk. I've had a hit out on my life behind this project.
Wow.
This project exposes so much truth behind Sacramento. Oak Park is the history of Sacramento. And I know stuff that I should not know about Sacramento. So it has caused me a lot of trauma where I needed to go back and reevaluate why am I the only one that cares? So that's what I had to do, and that's the trauma that came with this project.
I can definitely understand that, and I don't think anyone, after hearing that, I don't think anyone would blame you for taking a step back and reevaluating. So I guess what pops into my head now is, for anyone watching this and they want to do the work after you, or maybe they're in a different community and their community is going through something similar, what tips would you give them that you've learned along the way that could help the next person coming up, the next young person saying like, hey, I really want to help my community, and they're listening to your story and it's very similar. Things that maybe had you known, before that could have helped you, like just, maybe 1 or 2 tips that are really important.
Let me breathe, because that's a great question, and I'm cold, so I'm a little shaking. But that's a great question. Tools.
Just tools or just tips that you learned along the way that had you known when you first started probably could have helped things,
Yeah, definitely. Not everybody is your enemy.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Not everybody is your enemy. Not everybody white is your enemy. I'm still learning that. I care about my people so much. I admire and I adore and I care about their story so much that I have a hard time placing that to the side, that all white people are not the same, that all white people are the same. So I'm also learning that process too. So I would definitely say that not everybody is your enemy.
That's good.
And also too, another tool I would say is it's always know when the right time is to be quiet.
That's another good one.
I would definitely say too, because what I learned in this project the most is when I was silent, when I was just letting people talk, when I was just letting people do, when I was letting people act, when I was letting people call me and tell me about things, when I was watching people who had nothing to do with the project, that were not black, react to the project. Sometimes all you have to do is watch and you get the answers that you need. It's a lot of the time a great time to just sit back and be quiet.
I love those answers so much because one, it's very authentic. I can tell that you're speaking from experience in the heart. And two, I just think it's one of those things where sometimes we're so passionate about what we care about that those two things can be easily like missed, right? Because, you know, we feel this way and so we just want to show it. And especially that second one, just letting people, you know, talk and speak sometimes, we can be, oh, you know what, now that I've actually like stepped away and just listened or whatever, I've absorbed so much more, right? And so I love that you know, gave those tips and, you know, hearing it from you, someone who's been doing the work means so much more than, you know, it could mean coming from like me, because like I said, you're out there on the streets doing the work.
Thank you.
So before we let you go, because we only got about 2 minutes left in the show,
No worries.
I have this game that I used to play, and I'm trying to bring it back. I'll have you pull a card and just answer the question on the card.
Okay.
And yeah.
Pick anyone?
Anyone.
Okay. Should I read it?
You'll read it and then you'll answer it.
What one question would you like to ask an ancestor, and who would you ask?
It's a good one for you, right?
That's a great one for me. Mine would be literally to Malcolm.
Okay.
How did you withstand knowing that even in a room full of your own people, you had enemies?
Wow, that's very powerful. Very powerful. Well, Miss Eliza Deed, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Like, just hearing, first of all, I'm not like you, I'm originally not from Sacramento, I'm from Oakland, California. But, you know, hearing you tell just your story and like why it's so important to you, I feel like, you know, people out there are gonna be able to relate to that. Not just Sacramento people, but like even in Oakland, right? Because
oh yes, definitely.
There's a lot of gentrification happening, you know, in the Bay Area as well.
Yes.
And so I just want to thank you again for coming on the show and sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
Before I let you go, tell people how to get in contact with you, where they can reach you on your socials. And then if there's anything left you would like to say, then we'll let you say it now.
Yes, definitely. You can reach me at Speak Out Oak Park, at Speak Out Oak Park on Instagram, Speak Out United on YouTube, and Speak Out Oak Park on TikTok. I'm on all of those platforms. I value you guys and appreciate you guys so much. Oak Park is always love. And please stay tuned into what's going on with your neighbors, because it's happening to them and it can also happen to you. We must be one in this, Black people. Brown life as well. I value you. Stand up. Speak out.
Thank you so much. And to the people out there, this has been another episode of Everyday Amazing. I hope you're enjoying this season so far. Until next time, I'll see you then.